Hey everyone, this is Miss Murphy, and right now I'm going to be taking some time to go over the political features of the Middle East and help you with some tips and tricks to identify these places so you can, on your own, label and identify these on your own personal map. So let's get started. Now, if you would like to follow along with me as I'm going through this, I am currently on page 65 in the e-textbook, which can be found on the blog, or page 65 in your physical textbook. So either way, you can see this map on page 65 in your textbook or e-textbook. Now, when you're looking at this map, there's a lot going on here. You see the country names, and you're also seeing the cities and the physical features. This has a lot of information, and for us to just be starting out and introducing you to the countries, I kind of want to do a simpler approach and kind of ease you into it. So if you are following along with me, all you have to do is click this Google map icon. I have actually already done that, so if you would like to follow along with me, click on the Google map icon and it should take you to this page. This is a lot easier, isn't it? You can see the countries really well. It should be very straightforward. You can see everything at this point just with the country names. So where do we begin? How do we start with labeling and identifying these political features or countries of the Middle East? For me, I like to start with Jordan. Why do I want to start with Jordan? Because I have a simple phrase or technique that if you remember at least where Jordan is, you can identify 3 other countries in addition to Jordan. So here's Jordan right here. Jordan has this little arm right here, and so let's use our imagination right now, right? This may be a stretch, but to me, this kind of looks like someone with their arm out and their knees bent. So maybe someone slam dunking like Michael Jordan. So here's how we'll do this. Imagine that the country of Jordan, the outline kind of looks like Michael Jordan. So follow with me. I'm Jordan and I rock because I ran to Afghanistan. All right. See how I did that? So if you just kind of remember that the country of Jordan, kind of, if you're using your imagination, this part of the country looks like an arm. It looks like someone's knees are bent. Again, you have to use your imagination. You got to bear with me. So start in Jordan. You found Jordan. Here's the arm. And you just go and you follow where the arm is dunking. I'm Jordan. And I rock because I ran to Afghanistan. There you go. You got 4 countries. Okay, so where do you go from here? Where do you go from here? So you know that I'm Jordan and I rock because I ran to Afghanistan, but how do we figure out the other ones? Now, if you know where Iran is from that phrase, Iran is parallel to Saudi Arabia. They're right across from each other. They share the Persian Gulf together. They're parallel. And they're both the biggest countries in this area that we'll be talking about, Iran and Saudi Arabia. So if you do I'm Jordan and I rock because I ran to Afghanistan, you just go back to Iran, and you go across, and there's Saudi Arabia. And to me, the Arabian Peninsula, which is where Saudi Arabia is located, kind of looks like it's a huge boot. Italy, if you remember learning about this last year, Italy looks like a fancy stiletto boot. This to me looks like a rain boot or a snow boot. Saudi Arabia is a part of the big snow boot or the big rain boot of the Arabian Peninsula. All right, so again, I'm Jordan and I rock because I ran to Afghanistan. You hop across the Persian Gulf and see who's parallel to Iran? Saudi Arabia. All right, so where do we go from here? Okay. So let's go to Kuwait. This tiny little country right here. I know it's not labeled, but trust me, that's Kuwait. Now to me, Kuwait is so tiny, but it almost looks like, if you look at Iraq right here, looks like Iraq has its mouth open and it's trying to eat Kuwait. So the way I like to remember it is Iraq is eating Kuwait. It looks like Iraq is trying to eat Kuwait as a snack. So that's how I like to remember it. So, and it's also sitting right here on top of Saudi Arabia, but Iraq is eating Kuwait as a snack. Okay, so I'm Jordan and Iraq because I ran to Afghanistan, going to Iran, who's parallel to Iran, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a part of the snow boot or rain boot of the Arabian Peninsula. We're going to hop over here, and poor little Kuwait, teeny tiny itty bitty Kuwait, is being eaten by Iraq. Okay, so the last few. So you go up through Kuwait, and you go to Iraq, and we've got Syria, and we've got Turkey. Syria and Turkey. Syria and Turkey are just north, just sitting on top of Iraq, all right? And it almost to me looks like Iraq's kind of got a little arm going on. It looks like Jordan and Iraq are holding up Syria and Turkey. Jordan's got its arm out, Iraq's got its arm out, and they're holding up Syria and Turkey together. Also, if you want to get really creative, the country of Turkey kind of looks like, if you're really like this requires some major imagination skills, but the country of Turkey almost to me looks like a giant turkey leg. Again, use your imagination here, guys, bear with me. So again, let's look through this. Jordan has its arm out, Iraq has its arm out, and they're together holding up Syria and Turkey. And Turkey, if you're using your imagination, looks like a giant turkey leg. All right, so, but what about Israel and the Gaza Strip and West Bank, those tiny little guys? So first of all, we're gonna have to zoom in because these are really tiny. So a lot of times when you're looking at a map, you wanna assume that this whole thing right here is Israel, because if you look over at this map right here, it kind of looks like, oh, well, that whole thing is Israel, right? No. Israel is only this outline right here. To me, it kind of looks like a shoe. It looks like a slip-on shoe. So Israel goes through right here. Israel looks like a slip-on shoe to me. There, it kind of has an opening right there. There's the little heel, and there's the point of the shoe. Israel, to me, looks like a slip-on shoe, and it's really, really tiny. It's really, 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 really tiny. And Israel and Jordan are right next to each other. All right, so Israel looks like a slip-on shoe to me. Now, what about the West Bank and the Gaza Strip? Now, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip are technically a part of a group of land called the Palestinian territories. And we'll get into, okay, well, why aren't they countries? What does this all mean? We'll get into that when we get to history. But in the meantime, all you need to know is the West Bank is sitting inside the shoe of Israel. This is the West Bank right here. And to me, if you really look at it from the side, the West Bank shape is kind of in the shape of a W. See, it's kind of in W shape. West Bank, W, just like that. The West Bank is the W that sits inside of Israel's shoe. And then Gaza Strip, it's literally this tiny little piece of land right there. It's this literally a strip. It's literally a strip of land just right there. Very, very tiny. All right, so Israel is the shoe. West Bank is the W that sits inside of the shoe. And then the Gaza Strip is literally this tiny strip right by the Mediterranean Sea, all right? And Israel and the West Bank, they are buddies with, they're border buddies. And they're just border buddies, all right? And they share this border. And when we discuss physical features, you'll realize that the Jordan River forms the spine or the border for the country of Jordan. So the Jordan River will be right here, and it's the border between border buddies Israel and Jordan. And the Jordan River is a spine for the country of Jordan. All right. So that's where we'll end for today with political features. But I look forward to seeing how this has helped. I want you to also think about, what are some things you're seeing in the maps? This map, the Google map that we just looked at. What are some things you see? What are some pictures, some images you see? Are you already kind of coming up with some strategies or some ways to help you remember where these countries are? I'd love to hear them, because anything and everything helps. Whatever helps you remember where all these countries are, hey, that's what you need. Go for it, right? If you have any questions, let me know, but I look forward to hearing y'all's thoughts on the political features of the Middle East.